Well, we said it had to happen, and it is. The quad track is no more part of the farm. It's the next month, and as you can see, we had over $100,000 sucked out of the account at the end of the month, just covering payments on the tractor, the combine, the sprayer, and of course the loan we have. And well, that's not sustainable, is it at all? In fact, I'm already nervous what we're going to be doing at the end of this month. We're going to have to figure something out very, very quickly. But we are getting rid of the quad track. That's I think a $60,000 a month payment that we just cannot afford. We had to strike a little bit of a deal with the dealer though for them to come and take it away. We have paid obviously for last month or for this month, so we're another payment down, but and of course we had to promise not to do it with the combine or the sprayer. This is the only bit of equipment they are going to take back because they're now stuck with this expensive beast to try and rehome somewhere. If you're familiar with the dealer around here, it's actually quite green country. There's a lot of John Deeres around, so they are a little bit concerned as to whether or not in the current climate they're going to be able to rehome that. So fingers crossed they can, but we do appreciate them taking it away. But there was a sweetness to the deal, and I did manage to talk them into selling us a auger here, a conveyor auger that's going to make it possible to use the bins. So that was kind of a little bit of a sweetener there for the fact we did pay for that extra month on the finance there on the tractor. So goodness knows what have we paid, 180 grand off on that, and it's on the back of the truck and leaving. But that 60 grand a month we now don't have to go and find, so that's a good start. Also great to see the birds fly past, blue skies and no fog around today, so it's a much nicer start to the month this month than we might had last time. As for the soybeans, well, they're not looking too bad. We're going to have to just get in here and get them harvested, but first things first, we had to put the grain cart in the shed. We were a little bit worried about the weather overnight, so it's parked up in the shed. The combine, while we had left it over there, it's just nosed or actually backed into the shed there. There you go, you can see that. So first things first, once these guys have gone, we're going to get the soybean all into the bins. I think we're going to use this bin here on the left and then leave those two there for the corn, and go and get that all unloaded so we can start on some harvesting. So let's get that sorted out. There's a few other things I've figured out. Obviously had a bit of a sleepless night, spent a lot of time looking into the books and studying a few things and trying to figure out exactly what's been going on here. So a few more things to report on that could have some bearing on what we do in the future. But anyhow, let's try and get this all set up and get some beans up into the bins. So we've got that all configured there. Hopefully be a bit tight getting the header through the corner there, but we should be able to manage that. It's probably a little bit bigger in terms of an auger than what we actually need for the size of the bins. It will go quite a lot higher than what we've got it now, but it's about all they had. They didn't have too many options. Obviously, you know, it's not the sort of thing they have a huge amount of these hanging around waiting for someone to ask for one, so we were very fortunate to be able to get it. But there we go, that's us all set up. So just need to figure out, we're going to go and open the hatch up on top of the bins, so obviously not going to be able to take the camera up there, but we do need to climb up the little ladder here and get up on top and get that opened, and we'll grab the grain cart out, and fingers crossed we're not going to make too much of a mess dropping the beans directly down into the auger. It's not going to work too well, but it is what we've got to deal with. Otherwise we could, in fact we could actually park the truck or the trailer over top of that and then dump into the trailer and then do it that way. That might be a better solution. Alright, anyhow, let's get this door open up, or gate, or lid, or whatever you want to call it, open up on the bin, and we'll go and get some beans in here. Well, after much fluffing around with positions, locations, all of those kind of things, we finally managed to get everything, I think, in the right location and set up in a perfect spot. So we need to empty into the back hopper here. So open our cover up, there's our 30,000 litres of soybeans, and now should be able to... Can we open our auger? I don't think we can open our auger. What's going on with this? Ah, that's a little bit of a pickle, isn't it? It's telling us it's got no hydraulic components, but it's plugged in and connected. The trailer has no hydraulic components. Well, that baffles me because I'm pretty sure, I'll take a look around there, there is a hydraulic ram on the front. So, okay, let's try a different tractor and see if that'll work. Well, this has got me baffled. I'm getting a warning of no hydraulic components here, but if I look down and have a look, everything's all plugged in, the same as it was on the back of the Massey. I wonder if this is a maintenance issue or exactly what is going on here. This is not proving out to be a very fruitful start to the day. Right. We're going to have to troubleshoot this and figure it out, because we really, well, I guess we could start harvesting. We just have to come in and unload directly into the back of the truck from the combine, which is a solution. That might be what we have to do for this field. It is a big, long, awkward shape. It's one we're going to harvest in basically 3 or 4 headland passes. There's not going to be any up and down rows really in it, so let's we'll get that cover put back on there. We're just going to pull this out of the way once more. Just pull it into the shed, because without the header in there we can drive right through, and leave it parked in here until we can figure out what is going on. I might have to give the dealer a call again and see if they can help. Right, so we've just squeezed the header out back through that door. It is an incredibly tight fit, but we should be out now. So once again, leaving equipment in awkward locations, having that tractor there, but there we go, we're around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get down in here. I do want to see if we can unload into this. But of course our auger's on the wrong side. Like I said, everything is all around the wrong way. Things have not been set up very well. Just going to have to see if we can get ourselves turned around here. We probably should have been better off backing in, but without any help on the farm, it's a bit hard to do some of these things all on your own. As you can see, we're having to juggle a whole lot of different moving parts all at the same time. Actually, not too close to the bins on that side. No, we're good there. Right. Make sure we get empty into the back hopper and not the front one. Maybe something else that's going to complicate things. Right, let's have a look there. Pick our way around, get that auger out. There we go. Right, that's emptying into the back of the truck. So, with that doing that, let's jump out and go and see if we can get the hopper open on the bottom of the truck. Alright, there we go. We get some pressure built up into that, and all going to plan now. Things are opening up that end, and we can see the soybeans coming out down the top, and they should all be going into our silo. Let's just go and double check. We should be able to hear them all rattling down into there. There we go. It does tell us there's 7,500 litres in there, so that's obviously doing exactly what it should be done. Right, finally something has gone right for us. Little wins, we'll take those on this farm. Right, well, let's just jump back in here. We're not going to run the truck for longer than we need to, because that's all diesel, and that diesel is money. So with that all done, sorted. Right, I think it's time to go and start harvesting some beans. Let's roll into the field behind us and make a start. Alright, header on, get that lowered down, should be all good to go, and we're just going to roll in here and already see that we're getting similar yields to what we experienced in the other field, about 72% or 3.4 tonnes to the hectare. So looks like we're going to be sitting rather similarly in this field, which again, no surprises, because as we've said many a time, things just don't seem to have been prepared as well as they could have been. So there we go. Right, it is nice to be out working on a day like today. Isn't it a beautiful morning? Can't complain about that, that's for sure. Right, we're into it. Let us carry on and get this field harvested. Well, it certainly proved to be a very awkward field to harvest, but we are just about there, almost finished. Now, if you're wondering what all of the crop that sort of still looks like it's sitting in the field, that's our withered crop, which obviously the harvester won't pick up. So we have lost a little bit of yield just because of weather conditions, or goodness, who knows, might have been the way the field was prepped, the way the crop's been looked after. There could be any number of reasons that we've got these patches all around, but it does make it a little bit hard sometimes to keep track of what's been done and what's not. I know that these little bits of plants just here, they have not been harvested, so header must have lifted up as we went through that little dip. There we go. A few spots like that where it's just a little bit uneven as well and we kind of lose contact, but that's us done. So we will turn that off. I'm going to go head over, empty into the truck. We've pretty much got everything into the back of the truck without having to unload it into the silo either, which is kind of handy. So let's get on over there and we'll see how much we got off this field. Alright, there we go. Combine is empty. The hopper's gone and emptied itself into the auger, which isn't a bad thing, I suppose. You have to empty it out at some stage, but let's just leave that there and jump over. Not quite all emptied out. The trailer also went for a bit of a walk. I think it's the trailer went for a walk. Maybe it was the auger. Something was moving. Actually, it's been the auger. Auger's not quite centered over top of the bin any longer, but that's alright. It's obviously still working, hitting the trigger. So jump up in here. The last little bits of beans emptied out of this. Not much at all. There we go. On, off, and let's go and have a quick look at the bin. So there was about 7,500 litres in there. We've got 30,600. So we took 7 off, about 23,000 litres off that field. So not quite as much as the first one, but a decent amount. So it gives us what, basically 60,000. There's 30,000 litres sitting in the soil in the back of the grain cart. So obviously need to figure out how we're going to get that out. But there we go. That is soybeans done and dusted. Now these fields, probably both these soybean fields, will end up being corn next year, and then a couple of the corn fields will become soybean fields, maybe a wheat field or two, and then we'll get into maybe a little bit more of a sensible crop rotation. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyhow, there we go. Header is finished with. So we'll go and find the pickup, bring the header trailer over, get everything disconnected, and then we might actually have some time to roll into one of the cornfields. Well, we definitely do have time today. That's going to be one of our big tasks, actually, getting into all of the corn. But we'll definitely have time before we wrap this video up. So let's go and find the pickup. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about before the end of it too. Should be able to park that just there. Now if we're going to jump back up into the combine, should be able to get this header put in the right spot. We go, drive over it about there. That's about right. Lower it down, disconnect it, and there we go. That wasn't too far off at all. So we need to fold up the hopper on top because we're going in the shed. Well, actually we obviously don't, because we got in the shed before with it unfolded, but it's just back in. I think it's going to be the easiest way to move it around to get this corn header hooked up. It's tucked about as tight into the corner here as it would be humanly possible, but there we go. It's us all hooked up, so should just be able to carefully maneuver our way backwards out of here, mindful of the fact that there is the Ford parked behind us. I'll pick that up in the rear vision mirror. Not quite. Okay, let's just see. Might take a little bit of a multi-point turn. No, looks like we're far enough. There we go, we are clear of the door. Alright, let's get this out into the light of day, and we'll get things changed over. There's a bit of work to do on the combine. It's not just as easy as picking the header up. There's belts and pulleys and chains and gearing and all sorts of things we just need to fix in under the hood or under the side covers, as well. There's a few things we need to go through up here on the monitor and down here and get things sorted out. So we'll get that done. We'll get the header moved out of the way. We'll need to move the auger, although I really need to figure out that grain cart. So I think that's going to be our priority. We'll figure out what's going on with the grain cart, and then we'll get into some corn, hopefully. Well, we've had a little bit of a play around and we've got things fixed on the auger. It will now open up. It was a little faulty valve down on the hydraulics on the actual grain cart that we had to fix. So we've managed to get that sorted out, but in all honesty it was actually a mod issue and a keybind issue using the manual discharge, our manual tip trailer. It was picking this up as a trailer and it was trying to obviously manually tip the trailer, and it was going, hang on, there's no hydraulics here to manually tip, whereas we were trying to open the auger out. So there we go. Just if you come across the same issue, that is what it is. But there we go. I'm able to get all these beans up. They are, are they flowing? No, they're not. So we'll need to get into the truck. Oh no, they're going up in there. Obviously the auger is spitting them out quicker than the or the grain cart's spitting them out quicker than the auger can take them up the top. So there we go. Right, let that sort itself out. Good to have that all done, and we'll have to figure out which cornfield we're going to go and make a start on, and we'll get this auger moved over, so when it comes time, we're all ready to go to dump some corn up into the bins. So there we go, everything's all set up now, ready to get into the corn. Augers on the second bin, truck's all set up, and we've got the grain cart over here ready to go as well. I'm a little bit nervous because as we're getting into corn, we do know that this is going to yield high, probably not as high as it could. Again, crops probably haven't been prepped as well as they could have been, but even still, high yield is going to keep us on our toes, and I'm hoping that we're still going to be able to get around the fields and be able to unload back here, or we're going to be doing a lot of full running back across the field. Need to unfold that, and I think we need to unfold our hopper as well, don't we? Yeah, there we go, that's unfolding. Right, get this all undone. It's a nice big looking grain header. I do like this. This is going to be good. Corn header, of course. Right, let's get this turned on, because as I said, there was a few other things I wanted to sort of run across as we got into this, but let's just head in here. Now this is the smaller of the fields, which is why I'm starting off on this one. Let's just see if we can get ourselves set up with some guidance and steering assist. Alright, there we are, good to go. Will help me just to concentrate on having a chat to you a little bit more as we get into this. But like I said earlier, I've done a bit more deep diving into the farm. The main reason that the wheat didn't get harvested, it seems that that air seed is actually broken. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, it just wasn't working. So obviously finances being the way they were, couldn't afford to get it fixed, so just decided not to plant any wheat rather than doing that. So that's kind of where we've missed out on that opportunity. So we're just going to have to figure out what we're going to do there for that. That would be obviously necessary to be able to plant the wheat. But the other thing we've also found, there's no records at all of previous yields. The crops, what field had what in it, what the yields were, or anything like that. What even inputs were put in. So, you know, how much was spent on seed, fertilizer, diesel, all of those kind of things going onto the fields versus what was taken off them. So there really is a distinct lack of any data or anything scientific that could help turn the fortunes around here on the farm. So a few little things I've thought of doing. I'm going to take a look and do a little bit of research. I've already found out how much some soils testing it cost on the two soybean fields. It's going to be about 12 grand, I think, just on those two fields. So we could be up for $50,000 worth of soils testing, and obviously the account's not looking too healthy, so we have to figure out what we could do there with that. Might be a chat with the investors and just say, look, I know you don't want to spend any more money, but this is one way we could actually make a little bit of money here on the farm, just by getting that back in there. Gosh, we're 50% full already, and we're not even halfway around the field. My worst fears are being realised. In other news though, this is yielding at 98%, so it's not too disappointing from that perspective. I'm going to try and introduce a little bit more of a crop rotation and possibly look at either some fallow ground or putting some cover crop in, maybe even a alfalfa or something like that, some grass. I'm not sure exactly what the options are, but I'm going to have a chat to some of the neighbours and see if there's any interest in buying alfalfa or cutting alfalfa off if we were to plant that. Also see if it might work being able to put a cover crop in before we seed in spring, so we'll just have to figure out how that works around here. Not too familiar exactly with the seasons here yet in Ray County. Need to figure out exactly what the dates are. This is a bit of a steep hill. The combine's going to struggle to pull up here, is it? No, handles it with ease. Alright, the grain cart's going to find it interesting getting all the way over here. Beautiful scenery. It does make it a whole lot easier to be working in here when you've got views like this, or areas of the farm like this. Alright. I'm going to have to think now about what we're going to have to do to get this unloaded. So yeah, there's a few other things. The other thing I'm very quickly realising, and I had thought, I'm not going to be able to do this all on my own. I am going to need some help. So I'm putting it out to you guys. If anyone would be interested, you coming along and helping out on the farm, even if it's just for a day or two, please do let me know. I can't afford to pay you, unfortunately, but I can afford to put you up for a night, give you some food and accommodation. So if there's any interest in that, drop me a note down in the comments and I might just take you up on it. Alright, and there we are, that's us full. Not too far away, I can see the grain cart actually sitting up there, so I'm just wondering whether we might be able to sneak along here against the edge of the field and come down and unload. Just unfortunate we've got that bush just there. Let's just go back a touch. There we go, that might work. Right, we'll get this auger out, although I do know it's quite a long auger, isn't it? It's probably just about going to be over the other field, is it? But hard to tell. Anyhow, we'll go and figure out what we're going to do. Let's get the grain cart down here. So the view from here down to the combine, definitely not going to fit down between the field. We are going to have to run the whole way around. So once again, some help would be very much appreciated, particularly as we're now getting into the corn. Got 3 fields here at the farm. We've got the 2 sort of that are a little bit further away to get done. Actually, maybe that's an option. I'll have to have a look and see whether the farm owns those fields or whether they're leased, because we could potentially sell a little bit of land and that might help cover some of the repayments we've got coming up, cover some of the costs of the soil sampling. I know it sounds like a bit of a backward step to reduce the amount of land we're farming, but maybe consolidation's the way to go. I'm not sure. Anyhow, let's get around and get this combine emptied out. Right, there's a bit more space just here, so I think if we just park there, we'll go and bring the combine backwards, and that should be enough. Definitely not standing here. The pipe's pretty much over the crop. I'm definitely not going to get unloaded into that. Right, jump up in here and just carefully back our way backwards until we can see where that grain cart is. Here it is. Alright, there we go. Oh, don't overshoot it. Back forwards. There we go. Right, first load of corn getting up there into the grain cart. This is going to be busy. We are going to be on our toes. Alright, there we go. That done. Let's get back up to where we were and we'll carry on. A little bit more of this field opened up. There we go, back into it, and we'll have this field up and running in no time. But I tell you what, I think with what's in front of us, I think that is going to be a great time to wrap things up. I need the help. Let me know. Come and give me a hand. Like I said, there won't be any salary, there won't be any wages, but I promise you there's some nice equipment to come and drive. There is a nice warm bed and a meal at the end of the day, possibly even a cold beverage to go with it if you're that way inclined. So let me know if you want to come along and be a helper here at Ray County. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the start to this series. It's a lot of fun putting it together, and particularly on this map. It is a gorgeous map. Really enjoying the scenery, really enjoying how it looks and how it feels and how it plays. So I'm looking forward to bringing you more and more episodes of it. Anyhow, thank you once again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.